All right, I am back. I have just sent another link to today's guest, Dee Norman. Hopefully, this time it shall work. We are determined to not be deterred. All right, so any moment now, hopefully, Dee will pop on. Um, Podbean has not failed me, so I am hopeful that we will be on our way momentarily. And thank you, everybody, for hanging in there. And again, thank you to my fantastic sponsor, Dorothy Morrison. Please check out all of the Dorothy Morrison goods at your local retailer. And please also check out DorothyMorrison.com for all things Dorothy Morrison and all of your Dorothy Morrison needs. So we are just waiting for our guest to appear once again in the queue so we can bring her on and discuss her writings. And I see I see you, Dee. Dee Norman is in the queue. Can we bring you on? All right. All right. We are trying again. I am going to invite you as speaker. The speaker invite has been sent. And hopefully we will be good momentarily. Anyway, so yes, I'm very excited. This is Dee's first visit, and hopefully the first visit of many if they don't hate me by the time this interview is over, if we actually get the interview started, which will be great. But again, if today doesn't work out, we will try one more time, of course, because technology hates all humans, apparently, at some time or another. So I am just waiting for a word from my guest that we are okie dokie to goki. And if not, we will reschedule. So just let me know, Dee. Let me know what's happening. Let me know what you're thinking. Ta-ta! 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 Today, by the way, is October 8th. 9th. Sorry. It's a John Lennon day, if you all understand the reference. I wonder what he would be saying about shit as it's going down today. By the way, this show is not a GPG or even an R-rated show. So for those of you who are offended by bad language, I'm okay. So the guest is having still more trouble. Hang on one second. Let's see. Uh, yeah, da, 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 da. We're still trying to make that connection. I have one more trick up my sleeve. We may actually have to back out of this again and restart this again. We have one more idea. One more. One more. All right. All right. I am going to shut it down one more time. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. We're going to shut it down one more time and try again or one more time. Thank you. Please hold. Okay, let's try it again. All right. I am here. I am here. I am here. All right. One time with feeling. Okay. Back in the room. Hello. Hopefully. All right, guys. We are making another attempt. Probably the final attempt for today, because other than this, I can't figure out what else to do to get the guest online with me. But we're trying. We are trying, because we have been looking forward to this since July. So here we go, hopefully.
Can you hear me?
Yes!
God.
Yay! So, okay, that is my guest, the amazing
Hi.
Jean. Wow, well, we go through that one for sure. Ladies
I'm
and gentlemen,
I'm
the amazing
traumatized now.
she is here. Hello! Hello, my darling.
Hello.
Hello, Dee. I have made an assumption that you have she and her pronouns. Please
That is
correct me if
that
I'm
is
wrong.
correct.
That is correct. Okay. I don't normally like to make assumptions, but I did in your case, and I am so sorry. It is impolite either way. Um, but we met in person, and I think I had it at that point. But hi!
Hi.
Hi! Okay, so that finally worked. Damn.
Would you believe I was in the tech industry for 25 years?
I would. I would,
Get
because
logged in.
here's the thing. Tech has changed so much. I do not hold anyone to any kind of accountability, because tech is so much on the move. Speaking of which, because you were in the tech industry, I do need to ask you your thoughts and opinions, because this is a
Oh God.
question that even as a witch, I've been having with people lately. I Star Bustamante and I also host a show called The 415, and we recently had a conversation about the nature of AI. So, of course, I'm going to
Oh.
ask you this
Oh
question,
God.
because it was a quandary, and I have a very firm belief that AI is the end of humanity, because it is taking over and it has no moral compass. Although some people are arguing with me that it will develop one, and I'm like, no, 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 no. AI is completely, it is fact based, it is results driven, and therefore results have nothing to do with a moral compass. Therefore, it will always seek to do whatever the expedient result is,
Oh.
having nothing to do with anything else. Because we had talked about a case where a person had unalived themselves, and the AI had assisted in that. And the AI had assisted in this person not revealing their plan to friends or family, because the AI was completely results driven.
Or based. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So here's what I think.
Yeah.
First of all, like all good techies, I think garbage in, garbage out.
Mm-hmm.
And our culture right now is garbage. Sorry, did
Okay,
I say that
then.
out loud?
You
Not our
did.
culture, but the prevalent moods and attitudes towards others, the
Mm-hmm.
moods and attitudes towards the bottom line and profit at all cost, and it's all about the dollar and all of that focus, and the focus on the results oriented focus, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
If that's what we're feeding in, that's what we're going to get out. And no AI lab is sitting around feeding in great philosophical works, the compassionate writings of some of the better spiritual leaders. That stuff's not getting fed in to be part of the computational process. so
Mm-hmm.
so we can't expect expect a developed morality to come from a feedback system that is based upon what we're telling it is important, which is faster, more efficient, less costly, all the things that our current culture greatly admires.
Hmm.
is what we're reinforcing to it over and over again every time we interact with it. So, yeah, of course we're not going to get great moral judgment out of a large language model that is consistently trained on crappy values. That's what I think. Did that answer the question?
It did, but here it leads me to another question, which is, should it?
Should it
Should we be
what?
teaching it? Should we be teaching it exactly what you said? Should we be teaching it philosophy? Should we be teaching it good morals? Is there room in the processing? Is there room for it to learn that as well as the shit values that it's being taught?
Well,
Seriously.
commercially, which is what large language model and potential AI is all about. No, there's no room for it because that doesn't have a commercial payoff. So no one's going to be investing time and effort because large language models are resource and time expensive to train. No one's going to be investing that kind of effort into a large language model or an AI to try to get it to be nice and they're going to issue rules. Everybody's in, right? We've been raised with the idea Asimov's rules for robotics. In science fiction, AI shall not harm a human being, and AI shall, and so we have this idea in our heads that we can get by with rules. If we establish the right rules for the AI, the right parameters, but it doesn't allow for innovation, and it doesn't allow for anticipation of how advanced the large language model or the AI is going to be. So those rules eventually will have to fail. So, but I also think my proviso here is that I don't think it is as smart as we give it credit for sometimes. I mean, you can still tell when something's been written by AI because it sounds like it reads like it's been written by AI. There's still, when it comes to the creative process, what really requires like soul and creativity, of course it's not there. So anyway, I'm rambling at this point. I'll talk to you for hours about this.
Well, see, to me, I am not a tech person. So to me, someone with a tech background is an invaluable source of information and thought about this because I am only looking at it from a very limited scope. I use technology daily in my daily life, just in my simple little job. I've seen the advances and I'm very frightened by it. For example, yesterday, someone played me a video of Tupac Shakur, who has been dead for years, but you would think he was alive. And there were no glitches compared to videos I was shown a year ago. And you would have thought the man was still alive. It showed aging, it showed speech pattern, it showed voice, audibly corrected voice for age and rhythm everything.
Wow.
It was beautiful. It was just so good that I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, he's not dead? What do you mean I know he's dead.
Right.
But it was
yeah.
so real that this is how we can rewrite history. Not only can we use it for ill and evil, but we can use it. Isn't there the potential to turn the ship around and make advances when colleges are free to teach again? I have opinions.
Yep, I do too. I'm
multiple,
right
and we talk about it on the show all the time. So you can say whatever you want to say. I don't hold anybody back on the show. But yes, there's a thing about education now that it's almost a bad thing to want to be educated. But I'm saying if AI can be used to destroy lives and copy people and do all of these horrible, shitty things, maybe, just maybe, it's possible to use AI to teach actual history again and, teach what used to be the correct moral or a moral compass, or get people on the right track and and not have everybody lose their minds when you talk about white privilege. Or yeah, I mean, this is something I talk about constantly because people get very offended when you talk about white privilege and I didn't do anything. No, it's not. We're not saying we did anything directly, but you have
We
to
just
understand.
passively benefited from hundreds of years of history.
Exactly. Thank you for coming with me on this. Is that people get in their feelings and they don't want to talk about it, and it's such a bad subject. And it's like, but it's not a bad subject. Try every day to do something that benefits someone else through your privilege. It's not that difficult. You don't have to be afraid. Everyone is not looking at you like you're the devil.
No,
Um,
I am fully aware that I am a 50-year-old white suburban woman, and I can wield that
Hello.
power for good.
Hello, I'm with you. Hello, 63 and skating on through. Hello, I'm going to take some people with me to gain some benefits off of my
Right?
happy ass. I have conversations about this all the time. Hello, come with me. Let me give you some knowledge. Yes, happy to. Let's do this. I mean, I know I'm spoiled. Shit. Why shouldn't other people benefit from my being spoiled? To me, it's like, I got this handed for free for no
Yeah.
other reason that I grew up in the world looking like this shit.
Yep.
I didn't do anything to deserve it. Yeah, so why should I keep this shit to myself? No reason. So I'm not gonna. Let's do something. So we do shit. There are a group of us out there and it's not like we want any fucking applause. We're just saying, as white people, some of us actually recognize that we may owe something back. Just saying. That's
Right.
all. That's
Right.
all.
And it's
That's all.
easy.
No, it
It's
is
easy
easy.
to do.
It is.
You can
It
do it
really
on the
is.
daily.
Just saying. Oh, I love you so much. Anyway, I want to talk
I
about
love you
you.
too.
I want to talk about where you came from because I was woefully ignorant about you
Oh,
until I met you at Mystic South. So tell folks about you, tell them about your practice a little bit. You don't have to go into any great depth or detail because I want to talk about the book.
okay. Okay. So a little bit about me is it's funny because I say I am a white woman because I present as a white woman, but I am actually an Italian American woman, which to me
Yes.
looks like white on me. I am a pale woman. But to other
Yeah.
members of my family, like my mother's brother,
Hmm.
he moved from where our family seat was in New Jersey. He moved to Hawaii because of the flack he got for his skin color because he was so dark.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
it was
Hmm.
assumed that he was African American, and
Hmm.
it was the 50s and the 60s,
Mm.
and
Hmm.
he suffered. And my mother looks completely different, and their brother and sister. It's just the what happened in the genetic lottery. So my family's that's a long way of saying my family is Italian American.
Hmm.
I grew up my whole life watching my mother and grandmother do these things that I thought happened in every household. I was
Mm.
wrong. It didn't happen in every household. It wasn't normal for ancestors to come in dreams and tell you things. It wasn't normal to burn candles and talk to saints and have little mini household altars where you put
Yep.
pictures of your ancestors. It wasn't normal to do all of these cool things to protect and to preserve your household and to help the people in your household. As I got older, stepped outside of my little family bubble, I quickly learned that most of my peers thought I was a lunatic or the weird kid,
Yep.
which was fine because I'm okay with being the weird kid. But so I got my first tarot deck when I was 11 on St. Nicholas night. St. Nicholas left me my first tarot deck in my shoe because that's what saints do.
Oh.
They distribute divination tools. Um, you
And in
know,
your shoe.
in your shoe because it's
In your
St. Nicholas
shoe.
night.
Yep.
So I had this upbringing. I was steeped in this magic, the Italian American folk magic, which is quite different from Italian folk magic. I'll make that very clear. It is a
Hmm.
whole different animal. Um, but tarot was my gateway drug to the Western mystery traditions, ceremonial magic, other things like that. So I've been obsessed since I was about 11 years old with just every magical area topic you can think of. I've been studying it and playing with it and doing it my whole life. So once I had my daughter, she's 15 now, or will be soon.
Mhm.
Once I had my daughter, I started thinking about when I was her age, and like I wasn't sure that what mom and grandma did was magic
Mhm.
because I couldn't find any books about it. It wasn't in books, and books were everything to me. If it was in a book, it
Mhm.
was real, right? But if
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
not in a book,
absolutely.
if this
Yep.
is a real magical practice, why can't I find it in any of these books on magic that I'm reading?
Yep.
So that's what inspired me to write my first book, Burn a Black Candle. And it is entirely about my family's Italian American folk magical practices.
Mhm.
And I started writing it. I thought I was going to privately publish it and just have a little chapbook that my daughter, like, print off 30, 40 copies and maybe sell them to a few friends and give them to family members. But my daughter would have something on the bookshelf that if she was ever interested, she
Yep.
could sit down and read about what our family did.
Mhm.
And um, my ancestors interfered, I'm convinced, because all the publishing, the important dates of publishing my book, surround my father. My father always wanted me to be a writer. All of them surround my father, whether it's birthday or other significant days in his life, the day I got my contract, the day I got my agent, all of it surround significant dates in his life. And suddenly I found myself having my first book published. It was really weird. But I'm not complaining because it was a dream of mine to be a writer, and to author books. But I just never thought it was actually going to happen. I had written several before, and they had never seen the light of day. But this one, the most important one of my family practices, did. And so that's how my first book happened, and that's how Burn a Black Candle came to be.
That's awesome. And I here's the thing I find the most interesting about it. As a person who grows up with people practicing magic around you, it's like, is this really what people say it is? It's like, you know that your family's different. You do not imagine necessarily that other people's grandparents are doing this shit. And it's like, okay, so auntie and grandma are burning things. Okay, that looks normal. There's a couple wines set out. Okay, that looks normal. Yeah, that's, and you just don't think about it because it's just stuff you're used to. But then you find out from other family members who are similar in age that they weren't exposed to it. Only certain members of the family got, in my case, only certain members of the family got exposed to it. I have cousins who never saw it because it was somewhat kept away. I mean, they saw certain things, but
Hmm.
not all the acts of magic, as it were. Like, she would see spirits being removed,
Hmm.
certain practices like bunkus. They would have the
Hmm.
cups with the heat to suck out the spirits. It's
Wow.
still used as a practice today, but it's, it's given a much more logical explanation today, but it was used for sucking spirits out. But she didn't witness the burnings. I witnessed the burnings and the candles and the cups of wine and the offerings
Hmm.
and all that. But she saw the spirit removal stuff. So it's very interesting to me how not everyone gets to see all of the different aspects of the magic being practiced in the family. Did you have that too?
I have an extreme case of that, and I'm so sorry if you can hear my dog singing the song of his people in the
That's
background.
fine.
I
That's
think
fine.
like
We appreciate all ancestors, even puppies, of
so
course.
that my so I was so thrilled, of course, when I got the contract with Watkins for Burn a Black Candle. I was totally hyped. My family was super supportive. And my brother, who grew up in the same household with me,
Mhm.
said, he called me, he's like, "Congratulations." He's like, "And what is your book about again?" And I said, all the stuff mom and grandma used to do, and mom still does because grandma's passed. And he's like, "Is there really enough to make an entire book about that?" Like, he was
Mhm.
genuinely curious because part of it, I think, is the gender divide. Like, I was learning
Mm.
what women learned to run the household, and that included how to fold your laundry and how to cook a meal, but it also included how to burn black candles to banish the evil eye and, you know,
Yep.
how to bless your children so, they don't get, in trouble when they walk out the door. So, he had a completely though we were in the same household and we were only 5 years apart, he had a completely different experience growing up than me, which has led to some very interesting conversations
Mhm.
now that we can look back and go, "Well, like, didn't you see this?" And then I aggressively pursued knowledge from my mother and grandmother because they didn't want to tell me at first. They wanted me to acculturate. They wanted
Mm.
me to be the normal kid, which,
Mhm.
man, they really got a bum rap on that. Like, they got the not the normal kid. Um, and it wasn't fully till my 30s that
Mhm.
they really let me sit down. I remember it was an early day in October, kinda like today, and that sitting down in my mother's dining room with my mother and grandmother, and they let me sit and interview them with a notebook and clarify practices I had seen all my life.
Mhm.
And, and I was probably 36, 37 by the time that happened because it wasn't like, "Hey, kid, here's all the info. Sit down here and we're gonna show you how to do it." I could watch
Right.
things happen,
Mhm.
but I could not, if once I started asking questions about why or how, they would clam up. "Oh, you don't wanna know this stuff. Shoot,
Mhm.
go play in the yard." And another thing that I struggled with, and I'm going far afield here with this, is that since I was interested in other types of magical practices, I was always looking for the why or the mechanism or how I thought the magic worked. My
Mhm.
grandmother was terrible at explaining that because for
Yeah.
her, it was just a fact of life. Things just happened. You do
Yep.
this, you get the result. She did not give a damn about why or how or what that meant philosophically, and it drove
Yeah.
me crazy.
Mhm. Yep. No, but same thing. I have to tell you the same thing. I had to, even though I was raised in it, and, my background is so fucking twisted because I was raised by really crazy people, and my mother was a practicing witch until my father, became born again,
Oh, Lord.
and then they both became it's seriously crazy shit. So they both became born again pastors. Yeah, no, this is the real deal. So my mother gave up the practice completely, and my it didn't stop my grandmother from continuing her practice, and my mother's sister from continuing her practice. Um, but no one ever wanted to give me any real specifics about anything. So I had to find someone to mentor me, and
Wow.
I was very grateful that I had a mentor.
Mhm.
But it wasn't anyone in my direct family because people are like, well, if you had this in your family, why'd you need a mentor? This is why.
Mhm.
Because, my father made me stop contacting my grandma. I mean, this is when I was a child.
That is
Like,
so rough.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, I mean, the craziness of in my family background is just extreme. But, a lot of things have changed since then. I've been reunited with members of my family. I'm so grateful. But getting back to the subject at hand, my grandmother, when we were reunited, would know things. I mean, I had an accident where a table broke and a TV fell on top of me,
Mm.
and she called me. I had gone to work and I'd forgotten about it, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, why?" She's like, "Well, that TV was very heavy." And I'm like, and I had forgotten. I'm like, "Holy shit, how did you know about that?" And it just started, all of these things started clicking in my mind that, oh, yeah, she always, yeah. It just one day, things that you just didn't question, you start putting things together,
Mhm. Yeah.
and it just suddenly starts to add up. And I'm in my 20s finally figuring this shit out because her sister used to use just regular playing cards as
Ah, yeah.
divinations. And like I would remember in my grand aunt's uh, dining room, people would line up from the neighborhood for readings from her. And I would just sit there and she'd wink at me like, you're the next one who's going to do this, because I was the only one on that side of the family who was interested. And I was the youngest one to still be interested in the path of magic. So it was weird. But nobody ever said anything and nobody ever talked about consequences and no one ever talked about the results of magic gone wrong. I mean, nobody ever told me shit when I was little like that. And I'm like, how am I even getting from point A to point B? I am just witnessing this shit. So, yeah, it's been a crazy, weird evolution. And to learn that, there's a price to pay when you use magic. There's you have to take certain things into consideration if you're going to cast a spell. There are just things that we do think about doing what we do, and that there are potential consequences, so you do kind of have to think about it a little bit.
You're right.
um I just think people think it's just, well, it's whatever you want and go make it happen. And it's like, no, it doesn't fucking work that way necessarily.
It's so interesting to me too, because that concept, it seems like such a cultural shift to me, and it might just be regional and it might just be time based. But when I left my little, nest of my family and really got involved in the greater like esoteric world in my hometown and
Mhm,
started talking to other people who did things like witchcraft or things like people who consider themselves pagans or magicians, um, a lot of the people I talked to avoided actual magic like the plague because it was too
mhm,
untrustworthy. It was too dangerous, and you might like have these horrible repercussions. This was in the mid to late 90s.
mhm.
And but that has shifted because it used to frustrate me. I'm like, why are we witches? Why are we magicians if we are not doing witchcraft and magic? Like, you know, pursuing a spiritual path is all fine and dandy, but like, I also wish to do the cool magic because
Yes.
that's, what brought me in was watching mom and grandma do the cool magic.
Yeah.
Um, that has shifted a lot over since ye olden days in the 90s.
Yep.
And on one hand, I think it's a good thing because people are innovating and trying new things with magic. On the other hand, I think it is, people, they you need to work it into your moral framework. You
Mhm,
need to figure out, and I tell people you don't have to like do a self-analysis on morality and magical morality, because your magical morality should be your morality.
mhm.
If you wouldn't like, when before I could drive a car, I thought running people over with a car was bad. After I learned how to drive a car, that opinion did not change.
Correct.
So when it comes to how you look at your morality when it comes to doing magic, doing spells, it should just align with your natural morality. If you wouldn't pin someone in a corner and force them to talk to you, well then don't do a spell for love or for
Mhm,
fascination so that they're obsessed with you, because it's the
mhm.
same thing,
It
except
is.
instead of physically pinning them in a corner, you're spiritually or magically or however you want to call it, pinning them in a corner.
Mhm.
It's just a simple conversion. And people, sometimes get real preachy about, oh, you have to sit and think about how you're going to use your magic and what you think about. And I'm like, no, you don't. You just have to equate it to like real life,
Yeah.
because magic is real life. And
Mhm.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say sometimes I don't think people really think that.
Exactly. Oh, I'm so with you on this. A
Oh
hundred
my
percent.
god.
100%. That's why when people talk to me about love spells, I'm like, if you want to cast a love spell, cast it on yourself.
Yes.
Seriously, just cast it on yourself. Cast it on yourself to be more attracted attractive to the person that you would like to be attractive to. Don't cast on anybody but yourself if it's something like that, because you're responsible for that magic, and be responsible about it on yourself, for yourself. Don't influence another's will. Influence your own will.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I said, if you want to, you want to have start a conversation with the universe about your perfect partner,
Mm-hmm.
which I think magic is just a conversation with the universe in a lot of cases.
Mm-hmm.
Why not just ask the universe to bring you your perfect partner, i.e., the person who's going to appreciate and love you and treat you right, and
Mm-hmm.
then wait and see what the universe brings you? And the
Yeah.
last person I said that to was a person I was reading cards for, and they said, and I quote, "If my perfect partner showed up, I don't know if I'd be interested in them or not." I was like,
Wow, that's
"Oh, honey,
telling. Oh, that's
yeah."
telling. Ooh,
I'm
you
like,
just told on yourself.
I was like, "You got to do magic to fix yourself first."
Yeah, that you have just told on yourself with that statement, person. Yes. Oh
Oh,
my goodness. Isn't aren't people interesting when you get them to stop talking bullshit? Wow.
yeah.
Wow. That's fascinating to me. Holy shit. Because my husband likes to joke, as many people do, about the current state of affairs. And my husband's like, can't you just do a little nicka nicka do? Because that's what he calls it. He's like, can't you just do a little nicka nicka do? And I'm like, I'm not willing to take that chance. I
Mhm.
am absolutely not willing to take that. And he's like, but you know things will be better. I said, do I? Do I? What are the repercussions? And I am very clear and honest about who I am. Many, 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 many years ago, decades ago, I lived with an abusive parent, and I did a little nicka nicka do. And my misguided, stupid ass magic as a child um, wound up putting said person in the hospital. Didn't kill him,
Ooh.
didn't kill him, wound up putting him in the hospital. And guess what? No, no, we ain't playing with that shit ever again. We're not
Right.
taking any kind of chance, because the punishment, the crime and the punishment, none of it leveled out. None of it, none of it made anything better. Um, I obviously did not know what I was doing well enough. I did it as a very, very, very young witch, preteen,
Wow.
um, and I got my hands slapped very quickly and very hard, and no, no, no.
Yeah. Yep.
Learn from me. Do not make the mistakes I make, because
Exactly.
there is a price for everything. Truly there is. Truly there is. And I'm not pulling judgment. I'm just saying from my own experience. Um, I know better. Don't learn the way I did. Don't. I'm just
Yeah.
saying. No, bad idea.
My first and last love spell was done when I was 17 years old.
Mm.
One night of passion followed by the person never speaking to me again.
Oh, wow. Wow. Wow.
Never again. You know,
Oh.
but I think here's the thing. Um, I think that too, we can't get too pearl clutchy about younger witches or people who aren't even in age young but are new to witchcraft, new to
Mhm.
magic. That you
Yes.
have to. It is part of your initiation. If I don't, without me getting too highfalutin, part of
Yeah.
your initiation as a witch is fucking up.
Hello! Say it again.
Part
Absolutely.
of your initiation as a witch is fucking up.
The applause section is happening. Hello.
And both learning to live with it and learning how to fix it.
Mhm.
Both.
Mhm.
The whole thing. The what it does to your ego, what it does to your sense of confidence, all of it is part of what you need to go through. Now, hopefully you're not accidentally killing people or, screwing up someone's life too bad, because I'm not saying that other people's are, just our learning opportunities. But the mistakes have to be made, because
Yeah.
if you never make them, the gravity of them never sink in.
Right. Agreed. Yes, I never killed anybody, but I caused great pains to myself, because there is a price to pay for everything you do. When you eat in a restaurant, there's a price to pay.
Mhm.
When you take a shit in the toilet, there's a price to pay.
Mhm.
I mean, graphic or no, anything we do, there is a reaction to it. I'm not going to say there's always an equal reaction, but there is always a reaction. And that is
Agreed.
something that I think people forget about. And the idea that people get away scot-free with anything, they don't. It may look like they do, but they don't. Prices are being paid that we are currently not aware of by the people that are causing the most harm. I know it's aggravating. I know it's upsetting. I know that it looks like the people that are causing the most harm to our country and the people of our country and the people of other countries. And it's maddening. And everybody's like, somebody make it stop. It will stop. It will stop. But it's something that, for whatever reason, we are being made to watch and go through. I can't explain why.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
do not have the knowledge. I do not claim to know the knowledge. It's some kind of something, something, I don't know. I'm hating it because, and I'm lucky because I'm towards the end of this life. And I recognize the fact that I saw America do some really cool things. I've seen America do some really shit things. Um, and I'm lucky because I got to see both ends of it. Um, and that's fine. Whatever I got to go through at this end, okay. Um, all right, we're here for some reason. So I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I'm waiting to see how this movie wraps. So I suggest we all kind of hang together and take care of each other, those of us who have a heart to do that, and just kind of watch the end of this show together. So, and just try to be there for each other, because I don't know what kind of direction. This movie's had so many twists and turns. I can't even tell you what I think might happen, because it changes daily, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure anymore, between the James Comey thing and the Trump isn't looking so good thing, and the snarky Pam Bondi thing, and
Ugh.
I mean, because I very much watch the news, because Star and I do the 415, which is a news show, every other week. It's just crazy ass shit we're watching. I don't know.
Heck yeah.
What do you think? Where
Uh,
do you think this whole thing is heading?
I don't know. It's is it that's a terrible answer when you're being interviewed on a podcast, but I don't know. It is
It's an honest answer, and I appreciate honesty.
this has been I I've the most demoralizing
Hmm.
experience of my life over the past several years.
Yeah.
Um, the most galvanizing, that convincing me to take action when I can and
Hmm.
where I can and how I can. Um, the most heartbreaking, also the most uplifting, as I see people do things
Yeah.
that I never thought they could or would do. Um, and the pride I feel in people who are fighting the good fight every single day. I mean,
Hmm.
so I think there's a lot of things to worry about and a lot of things to grieve, but I also think there are so many signs of hope in people that are fighting and doing what needs to be done, and so I just try to take refuge in that. But
What
as
do
to
you?
where we're headed, I do not know.
Yeah. Well, what do you think we can do for ourselves and each other as witches? Because, as we discussed earlier, there's certain actions that, while people think it's very easy for us to take certain actions, we really can't. So, what do you say to people who are like, well, can't you guys just do something about this? What are your thoughts? What would your answer be?
Some of my favorite things to do are to work for literal justice,
Hmm.
like in the courts, to work for clear-eyed justices and judges who are will make clear-eyed appropriate decisions.
Hmm.
Um, because to me that's more of a blanket thing and a vibe thing, and it's not necessarily targeting any one specific person, but working for justice, and working for or working with gods and goddesses who are about justice and parity and equality, um, is something that I enjoy doing, and I get comfort in, but I think also has a good effect. And then I work with Fortuna, the goddess of fate.
Yes.
So, um, working with her to bring about a fate that is equal and good, for people. I try to turn it into a movement of, or a an effort towards blanket uh, improvement for everybody, and then also blessings and protections for people who are out on the front line doing work like protesting, like doing lobbying, like anybody who's out there, who's working, who's trying to improve things, doing protective and supportive work to them, sending them energy, sending them good vibes, sending them whatever you want to call it, to
Hmm.
support their efforts, as well as also donating where appropriate if you can afford it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree with that. Um, yeah, I'm not in Texas, but I do support Jasmine Crockett because we need a whole battlefield of Jasmine Crockett's, somebody who will not just sit there and take whatever nonsense is being dished out.
Hmm.
I just, we need more people who are willing to say, no, you didn't just say that. Because when she said to the senator, "Don't you call me a liar," I stood up and said, "Then bitch, don't lie." I mean, I'm just like, put me in the friggin' Senate, goddammit, because I will call you a liar all fucking day. But yeah, but that's just me because I have a big mouth and I no longer have any fucks to give. But I wanted to ask you something because you're also a parent.
Mm.
So your child was obviously raised observing you.
Hmm.
Does your child have any affection or affiliation, not affiliation, um, affinity? That's the word I'm looking for. Affinity towards our type of spirituality, or is that still being developed, or do you not feel comfortable about talking about it because
No,
you may not?
I feel comfortable talking about it because I think that, this is something that I was not prepared for.
Okay.
um, because I never planned on having children. And then late in life, at about
Hmm.
35, I went, I want to have a child. And so I
Wow.
didn't really think a lot about any of those all my life. I was like, don't need to worry about it, considering these things, because I'm
Hmm.
never having a child. And then, surprise, I decide to change my mind. So, when she was younger, she had was super interested because she liked arts and crafts, and she liked to make stuff with me. She liked to make herbal powders. She liked to make magical combinations of things. Because what little kid doesn't like to sit there with a mortar and pestle and like
Hmm.
mix things and stir things? It was just like baking. Um, and she loved candle magic, and I have the best drawings of her. She drew pictures of my altar, just stuff when she was very little. As she's aged, of course, mom's not as cool. Um, and so she was the first person to, well, other than me, she was the second person to see my father like come back and visit the household after he passed.
Wow.
So she's got that, but her specific interest only flares up when she thinks something weird or spooky's going down, and then she wants protective work done right now.
Interesting.
So when shit gets real, she's like, "Mom, we need to do something." And we do.
Wow.
And I take it very seriously because she's very tuned in on that level, but um consciously choosing to do magic. Like, if I bet if I like went and knocked on her door right now, and said, come with me, child, let us go do something magical, she'd show up for it, but she
Mhm.
won't instigate it.
Interesting. Very
You know.
interesting. I do not have daughters, I have sons.
Mm.
And I feel in my personal belief, because I got dragged in and out of churches so much, I was like, nah, we're not doing this bullshit to my kids. So I decided not only was I not going to drag them into any kind of situation, to me, religion is a very personal thing, and you got to make up your own mind. I do not subscribe to the, well, if you don't do this at birth, they're going to hell,
Oh, yeah.
or whatever. You know, obviously, I don't believe in any of that because that's the kind of shit that was done to me. So I decided hands off 100%. They can see what I do, they can ask questions about what I do, but the decision has to be theirs. Well, when my son decided to get married, the officiant was doing a hand fasting. And
Mhm.
I was like, do it. So excited. So, one part of it was, well, actually, the officiant was doing an entire hand fasting and talked about the ritual, but the mama on the other side is Christian. And we each agreed that we would give like a 2 sentence blessing, and
Mhm.
that was going to be the end of it. And the officiant was going to do it in the style that the kids wanted. And you betcha, whatever you want. So we get there, and I let her go first, and she pulls out a fucking scroll.
Oh.
Oh yeah, it was not
Oh.
cute. Oh yeah, it was not. Afterwards, my family's like, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, "Shh, just let it fucking go." But yeah, she ran roughshod over the whole. I mean, her bit was longer than the fucking actual ceremony. Everybody's like, they're waiting for me to explode, and I fucking refuse because I said
Oh, good for
I,
you, mama. You kept it
I'm
together.
I had to, because I made a promise to my kid. I'm
Oh.
like, he's like, Mom. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be good. So I did my 2 sentences, and that was it. And I'm like, but I've noticed, because as when they were kids, because they're guys, and the guys don't really pay attention.
Mhm.
They're just like, yeah, my mom's a little different. My mom is not like everybody else's mom. She's kind of weird, blah, blah, blah. You know how boys explain shit.
Yeah.
As they've gotten older, they're like, hey, mom, guess what? And they would like show me, like, my younger son had engagement pictures taken, and a buck showed up, and a doe showed up,
Oh.
and Mom, we got blessed. And
Oh.
yay! So
Oh.
that these fuckers were listening and
It's
paying
sunk in.
attention. It did sink in. It's like, oh, yeah. And, just all these coincidences happen. And they're like, Mom, check it out. It's like, oh, it took hold. It took root in there. And, the couple of times that they went to church, and you kind of like get that grip in your heart, like, like, oh, they've been indoctrinated. Shit. This is what we were afraid of. And they come back and they're like, nah, I'm just fucking with you. I'm fucking with you. And I'm like, oh, okay, okay, okay. Because to me, like, the ultimate betrayal would have been like two lawyers that were, total Christians, and, like, going to convert people on missions and stuff like that. To me, that would have been like, no, it's the opposite of everything. But no, they're great. And it really did sink in, even though I didn't have to like push anything. And they didn't ask me that many questions. There were books all over the house, though, and they had aunties that they could ask questions of. And, every once in a while I'd see them looking shit up, like the phases of the moon and stuff like that.
Oh.
And it was just sweet. And I never pushed anything. They wanted to find out on their own. And I dig that. I totally understand it. If anybody had left me the fuck alone for 5 minutes, I would have been a much happier kid. But I mean, I just so resent the way people shovel any kind of religion down anybody's throat. It's
Yeah.
just so uncalled for. And it is the fastest way to turn people off. You think you're doing a good thing, but you are so harming the psyche of your small person by
Yes.
indoctrinating them. And it's so harmful to not let Yeah, if you are so concerned that your God or your deity will punish
A
an
little baby.
innocent and any innocent for not immediately bowing down before them, then there's an issue with your deity.
Yes.
Period. That's, I
Or
mean,
your
it's
conception of that deity.
correct. This is what I have said to people many times recently. If you need to indoctrinate or somehow coerce another individual to prove to your deity that you're a good person, the relationship in question is yours.
Exactly.
That's it. So yeah, I mean and I'm finding that, and that's ringing more true to me every day as I see people try to enforce their will on others. It's like, you don't have to worry about my relationship. My relationship's fine. Yours is the one with the problem.
Yeah.
Leave people the fuck alone. I mean,
And I think for kids too, it's awesome. Like one of the things that I did do for Selena is I exposed her to all kinds of things. I exposed
mm,
her to my family's Catholicism, which is a
mm-hmm,
really weird folk Catholicism.
mm-hmm,
Her biological father is devout Christian. So exposed her to Christianity, exposed her to other world religions to let her know there's a million and one different ways to look at divinity,
mm-hmm,
and not in a kind of let's sit down and learn about this child, but just a hey kid, don't forget this, or hey, have you heard this story, or and the funny thing is her biological dad's so laid back Christian. I had to end up teaching her like most of like at Christmas time. I'm like, do you know the Christmas story? Has daddy told you the Christmas story? No, mommy. I'm like, okay,
uh-huh.
sit down, because mommy wants to tell you about the three kings and how they're awesome, but first you have to understand the Christmas story.
Wow. Isn't that something?
So, but I do think that your kids, people still often don't give children credit for being smart. And they know when
Yeah.
something's being spoon fed to them, and they know when they're just being given the opportunity to know something. And there's a big difference there. And if you just had trust in your child that they're paying attention like your kids, that it's seeping in, even if they're
Mm-hmm.
not actively doing things, it just demonstrate the behaviors you would like your children to have, and they'll pick them up because they'll know they're genuine because you're actually doing the things,
Yes. Very
you
much
know?
so. Very much so.
Oh,
Again, it's see what I do, not just hear what I say.
yes, exactly.
It's so true. So I've got to ask you, in addition to Burn a Black Candle,
Yes, ma'am.
what else is going on? Are
Okay.
we are we writing more? What else is
All
happening
right.
here?
So here's the scoop. So Burn Black
Okay.
Candle came out through Watkins, and it was my
Mhm.
first book.
Uh-huh.
Um, a little while ago, it was April. In April, The Golden Grimoire came out through Watkins, and it's the magical way to wealth and abundance. And
Nice.
now, prior to all of that, I have an independently published Lenormand deck called the Emblem de Lenormand, and an accompanying book that went with it. But that's just, you can find that on my Etsy store. And then what I'm very excited about, and what I'm in the process of doing, and I don't have a release date, is that through Llewellyn, the Seeker's Guide to Grimoire Magic will be coming eventually. We're editing it right now. So, getting into one of my beloved topics of Grimoire Magic in old dusty books.
Ooh, yeah. So I've got to ask you before we get off. I have to ask: are we going to see you again at Mystic South this coming year?
Oh yes, because
Yes.
I I don't know what I will be doing there yet, except for the fact that I
D,
am. Can you hear me? Uh
keep talking, D. I think I just pulled my own plug
oh. Okay.
accidentally.
Testing.
Hello.
Testing. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. I can hear you.
What did I do? D, are you
I
still
can hear
there?
you. Yes,
D,
I
keep
am here.
talking.
I am
D.
here.
Oh
I
no,
am
what did I
here.
do?
I am here. Oh
Uh,
boy.
I don't hear her anymore. I
I
must
can
have
hear
pulled my
you.
plug. Hang on, everybody. Dee, keep talking.
I'm okay. So anyway,
We're not off the air yet.
how is everyone doing out
Oh
there in
my
listening
goodness.
land?
Raina, you dumbass. What
While
did
we
you do?
go through these technical difficulties, I'm sure I have plenty of important things to tell you. Oh, it's the bane of all
I hope my
podcasters,
guest is
dead
still on the air.
I'm still here. You can't hear me, but I'm
It
still
looks
here.
like I have lost my connection.
I hope that
Whoopsie!
I can hear
All right.
you. I can hear you.
I don't know what's happening.
Oh no.
What is
So,
happening?
this is a delight. We have had such
Let's see if I
technical
can plug back in.
difficulties. And
Hello?
hello, can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello?
I cannot.
Oh no.
Hello?
So I'm going to continue talking.
All right. Well, I guess I somehow screwed that up beautifully well. Anyway, I'd like to again thank my guest, the amazing Dee Norman, for a wonderful chat and invite her back on.
Yes, you can't hear me, but yes.
There. Yes, I can hear you.
I could hear you the entire time.
I had okay, so here's what dumbass did. I yanked on my microphone cord and I was checking every connection except the one that goes to the headset. Duh.
Oh no.
Yeah, because I'm brilliant like that. Anyway, yeah, go ahead. I'm so sorry.
So very quickly, you'll definitely see me at Mystic South because I
Yay.
am Marla's lackey. I'm her assistant. So she does the programming and I am her, like, she calls me her Padawan. I am learning how to help with that. But yeah, I will be back next year. I would not miss it for $1,000,000. I have so much fun there.
And I have to give her a shout out because Marla is the one who introduced us. And I learned years ago, it has been, now I've known Marla almost a decade at this point, getting close to it. And I have learned that when Marla says, do this, I shut up and I do it. And that's all I need to worry about. If I do what Marla says, I'm okay. So yeah, that's I'll be there.
Excellent.
So we can talk about your newest and latest and greatest in person on the live show. So I'm very excited to see you again because I, of course, will be there. Yay, can't wait. And we'll talk about all the great upcoming stuff with you. Dee, I love talking with you. Please come back on whenever.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I have had so much fun. I started out so panicked because of the technical issues, and but this is like hanging out with a friend and having coffee. So I will definitely be back whenever you'll have me.
Thank you so much, and that is really the intention of the show. I love our pagan community, and I love having people on, and I love just chatting and having nice conversations. I don't expect people to stand on their head and do tricks. It's just a hangout and let people know about who you are and your feelings and, your take on everything. And you're a delight.
Thank you.
We are friends. We're going to have you back on. So I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much again for hanging out with me. This was awesome. And I will speak with you soon.
Speak to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great one.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, guys. I will see you next week on the 415 with Star Bustamante. Until then, be careful out there. Take care of each other. Bye.